Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Casa Andreoli. Today we're going to be making zucchini roll-ups featuring the zucchini and bell peppers. While we're prepping our zucchini, we're going to preheat our oven to 350 and roast our red peppers. We're going to grab a baking dish and put a piece of parchment paper on and get our oils and our seasonings ready to roast the peppers. And basically all you have to do is take your peppers, lay them down on the baking sheet, and basically just brush them with oil. Make sure all the skins are getting nicely coated with the oil. Roasting for approximately an hour at 350 while we're prepping our zucchini. So we're going to do all the peppers. And then we're going to lightly salt them, and that helps the skin release from the meat of the pepper. So we're going to take some salt. We're just going to drizzle some salt on, turn our peppers over and do the other side. And we're ready to roast them for an hour at 350. While our peppers are roasting in the oven, we have plenty of prep time. We're going to make the seasonings for the zucchini. So what I have here is some olive oil, about 3 or 4 tablespoons, some herbes de Provence, a couple pinches of that, some black pepper, and some salt, a couple of pinches of that. We're just going to mix that mixture together with our little brush, because we're going to brush on, once we prep our zucchini, nice thin slices, we're going to brush the olive oil mixture onto the zucchini. To prep our zucchini, we're going to need either a mandolin to make nice thin long slices, and or you can use a peeler. So we're going to prep our zucchini by slicing the ends off and setting them aside. Once we get our ends chopped off, we're just going to take the top layer off of the zucchini. Now I'm going to demonstrate both. You can make long, nice, thin slices with your peeler, like this. And or if you have a mandolin, it definitely gets easier with a mandolin. Nice, long, thin slices. So now that our zucchini is all nice and sliced, we're going to start prepping the zucchini. Look how beautiful that is. If you don't have a mandolin, it's okay. You can use your peeler, but it certainly is better to use the mandolin. And we're going to grab a piece of parchment paper and start prepping the zucchini. So we still have approximately 40 minutes for our roasted red pepper, but we still have a lot of prep work to do with our zucchini. So we're just going to take our beautiful zucchini and layer it. The benefit of the mandolin is that most of them come out quite uniformed. You might get some shorties in there, that's okay, you can just double it up. After we have several layers of zucchini, they look great and all layered up and very nicely coated with the olive oil and spices. We're going to set it aside so we can grate and prepare our cheeses for the filling. So what I have here, and you can basically use pretty much any cheese that you'd like, but the goat cheese is really important. You could use plain, but I've gotten garlic herb goat cheese. And I also love the flavor of smoked Gouda, and we also have a sharp cheddar. Some people like to use mozzarella. That's okay, you can use mozzarella, or use whatever you have in your cheese drawer. Okay, so we're going to grate our cheeses, and we're going to crumble our goat cheese. We're going to get rid of the skin on our smoked Gouda. And I have to say, depending on how many roll-ups you're making, obviously, I just like to grate up the whole entire goat Gouda and use it in eggs tomorrow morning. Right, so we have our smoked Gouda. We're going to shred our cheddar next. And then crumble our goat cheese. Okay, we have our smoked Gouda shredded. We have our cheddar. We're going to do our goat cheese. And with goat cheese, it doesn't really melt like cheddar or Gouda. So what I like to do is put it in little tiny bits into a bowl. We don't want the overpowering flavor of the herbed goat cheese. So we just probably about a 1/4 inch, maybe little dime size chunks in it. Because like I said, it doesn't really melt. So we don't want it overpowering the zucchini roll-ups. After you finish crumbling the goat cheese, the peppers have been in for 20 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and turn them over. Let's take a look at what they look like. They look good. It's time to turn them over. And as you can see, they're starting to char on the bottom. And that's what you want. You want that char. That helps you get the skins off when they're done cooling. And they have 40 more minutes. It's been an hour for the roasted red peppers, and it's filling the air with beautiful smells. We're going to take them out of the oven and let them sit for 15 minutes to cool. It'll be much easier to de-seed and take the skin off. As you can see, they're nicely charred on all sides. Perfect. We're going to wrap these up in the parchment paper and let the steam help take off the skin. We're going to rest them for 15 minutes. The peppers have been cooling for about 15 minutes. It's time to de-seed and de-skin them. You need a cutting board and a knife. You want to keep them in the parchment paper because they're going to release a lot of liquid. So I think these peppers actually have released quite a bit of liquid, so I think I'm actually going to remove them and put them in a separate bowl. Okay, we're going to do this one at a time here. The seeds are just full. This one is very tender. We're just going to remove all the seeds. They're still a little too hot, so just be careful. You can actually prep these a day before, 2 days they can sit in your refrigerator after you've done roasting them. So if you don't have an hour to sit around waiting for roasted peppers, you certainly can do it a day before. I'm just going to flip that over. I've got the tender yellow one de-seeded and skinned. And usually you can just go reach right in there and get the top and pull it right out. And then you open it up and you just take out the rest of the seeds. You definitely want to try to, you have to get rid of all the seeds. Just push them right aside. After you remove the seeds from one side, flip the pepper over and the skin comes right off. Just push it to the side here. After all the skin and the seeds are removed, you want to clean your cutting board because we're going to cut the peppers into nice long strips. Okay, we're going to line our cutting board with the meat of the peppers, and we're going to cut them in nice long strips. The yellow pepper was quite tender, so They won't cut up in little strips as well as I would like, but the flavor is still going to be there, so we're definitely going to still use them. Place them in a bowl. Now we have all our ingredients to roll up the zucchini, and we are going to start layering our roll up. So we started with shaved, sliced thin zucchini with some olive oil, herbes de Provence, and salt and pepper. We layered them, and now we're going to put strips of roasted red peppers, roasted yellow peppers, and we're going to just go along here and make a nice, make sure that you double check on those seeds. They're little and they get in the way. They stick. All right, so we're going to layer the peppers onto the zucchini. And then the next layer is the goat cheese, crumbled goat cheese. So probably one little crumble, maybe every 2 inches. Like I said, the goat cheese doesn't melt, so you don't want the goat cheese to be too pungent in the zucchini. We want it to just a hint of tang, not to overpower the zucchini and red peppers. So after our goat cheese has been placed onto the roll-up, next is your cheese of choice. We have a little bit of cheddar, and a little bit of smoked Gouda. And now it's time to roll the zucchini. After our ingredients are all on top of the zucchini, we're going to roll it nice and gentle. And that's why I used 8 zucchini. It was as wide as my hands so I could roll the zucchini log. And I have my toothpicks handy, and we're just going to stick in while it's baking. This is going to help it stay together. We're going to place all our zucchini roll-ups into a greased baking dish. And we're going to use a spatula to help us get it in the baking dish. And you probably can fit about 4 long rolls, zucchini rolls, in a baking dish, depending on how big you make them. And then we're going to bake them. 350, we're going to place foil on top. We're going to bake it for 350 for about 30 minutes. Then we're going to take off the foil, and for the last 10 minutes, we're going to crisp it on the top with a little Parmesan. We're on to our second roll-up. Zucchini, roasted red peppers, roasted yellow peppers. And you want to make sure that you place the zucchini strips close together, because as you're rolling, you don't want them to fall apart. This is such a nice dish, though. Make sure you're doing your seed check. And then we're going to roll it. Take the edges, flip it over. Get to the end, pack it in a little bit. Add our skewers to help it stay together while baking. We'll use our spatula to help us get it in the baking dish. we're only going to put 3 in the baking dish. And we're going to brush them with some olive oil and our little mixture of herbes de Provence, salt, and pepper. That way when we crisp them up after they've been baking for 30 minutes, they'll nicely brown at the top. Going to cover that with foil, and we're going to bake them for 30 minutes. Our zucchini has been baking for 30 minutes with the foil on. It is now time to take the foil off and set the timer for 10 more minutes and add some Parmesan cheese on the top. Let's take a look at what they look like. They look great. We're just going to sprinkle a little Parmesan cheese on the top. We're going to put our oven on broil. Just going to sprinkle a little Parmesan cheese on the top and crisp the tops up. And that's 10 more minutes. And we're going to put it on the shelf and let them broil up. It's time to get our crisp up zucchini rolls out of the oven. They have to sit for at least 15 to 20 minutes so this cheese sets up and you can slice them into 2-inch bites. When you're done removing the cooled zucchini roll-ups out of the baking dish, put them on a cutting board and remove all the skewers. You can either serve them up 2 ways. You can serve them as a side dish and they can help themselves for as much as they want, or you can make little hors d'oeuvres with them and cut them in 2-inch slices. Now that the cheese has been set up, you can make little roll-ups, 2 inches, 1 biters, or maybe 2 biters, depending. And you can make a nice little hors d'oeuvre for yourself. And the cheese has to set up, so you have to let it rest at least 20 minutes. And then to garnish it, you take some more of your roasted red peppers and just center it. And there you have Casa Andreoli zucchini bites. Time to try one. I think I'll leave those there for the company.